Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy DeQuavius PorkPay, and today we're going to see if we can beat Dark Souls 2 only using farts. Most important thing we have to do is pick our name, and I was going to go with Amanda Heard for obvious reasons, but I figured Amanda Turd would be more thematically appropriate, but then I figured that would be in bad taste. So instead I tried to do Fart Boy and Lava Girl, but the character limit would only let me put Gur because technology back then just wasn't ready for such a fantastic name, so I just stuck with Fart Boy. Next I have to pick my class, which really doesn't matter, so I just picked whichever class I thought looked the stinkiest, and I settled on the Bandit class. I would learn very early on that picking this class was a huge mistake. And finally, I chose the Petrified Something as my gift because that's how I'm gonna leave all my enemies after they smell what the rock is cooking. First thing I need to do is talk to this man so I can get a ring that gives me a little bit more health, and then I need to get the cat ring. Now normally I would let the Dragon Rider have an unfortunate accident and slip to his death, but I would not dare rob him of the satisfaction of dying by fart. So instead, I let all these guys fall to their death, bought the ring, and then got instant karma.
See you, chump.
Third time's the charm, I make it through, run through the gutter, and find the fragrant branch of yore. I head back up to Majula, use that branch on this lady, and she backs away very slowly, probably because she can smell me. And also, she looks like she's wearing somebody else's face. I gave her some clothes, met her back in Majula, and now I can buy some fart. I was then horrified to realize that I need a pyromancy glove to actually use the fart, and I prayed it was possible to get it without killing a boss. And as for the normal pyromancy glove, no, you can't. But the dark pyromancy glove, you can. And it's actually practically right next to where I got that fragrant branch of yore back in the gutter. So I headed back to the gutter, grabbed the glove, equipped it, and was once again horrified to realize that I only have 2 farts. But I said, fuck it, we ball, and tried the first boss fight anyway. And after blasting him with 2 stinky doses of fart, it was just barely not enough to kill him. Great. How about the Dragon Rider? Even worse. After those 2 failures, I did what we in the business call research, and tried to find ways to increase how many times I can fart, and what I found, I shit you not, is called an amber herb. I about fell out of my chair when I read that. And what that does is just give you an extra fart, and thankfully I already had 2 in my inventory, so I just popped one of those during my next attempt, and that was enough to take out the old giant. Also real quick, this is the winner of the Alexander Warrior Jar from the last video, and if you want a chance to win one yourself, you can just leave a comment or check the link in the description and order one yourself. Thanks. But how do we get more amber herds? Well, according to the wiki, the old knights have a chance to drop them, but they are far too fart resistant for me to kill them right now, so for now I just have to buy 3 more from the merchant hag. You could also buy some more from another merchant in No Man's Wharf, but you need at least 8 intelligence in order for him to even talk to you, which I do not have. So I went to get the key to the house in Majula and also found another amber herd just sitting here, which the wiki did not mention. Thank you, Dark Souls Wiki. And once I got to the house, I grabbed the soul vessel so I could respec my character and give myself more intelligence and attunement, because presumably with enough attunement, I should get more farts to use eventually. So now I need to kill the Dragon Rider so I can get to No Man's Wharf, and just like the last giant, he takes 3 farts to kill. And there are other items that will restore fart uses, but none of them can be purchased infinitely, but we can get some gear that will help us out, starting with the Saint's Hood. And just like other fart increasing gear, we need a lot of faith and intelligence in order for her just to give it to me. But luckily for us, we can just trap her down here and give her the old Dutch oven and just buy the hood from the merchant hag instead. Unluckily for us, I can't kill her with just a mere 2 farts and don't feel confident enough to burn through my amber herds just yet because I'll probably need them for bosses later on. So instead, I run through No Man's Wharf, frantically grabbing every item I can, hoping that one of them is something that will give me more farts, but I did not find anything. I did find the man I was looking for though, and had enough souls to buy 8 of the 10 amber herds he was selling and face the boss. And just like every other boss so far, he dies in 3 whole farts. And after that guy moved to Majula, I realized he also sells twilight herbs, which are just better versions of the amber herds. Also, for some reason, I decided to fight the Ruin Sentinels when I didn't really have to, and it's especially bad because I had to use a lot of amber herds to get through this. And on my first attempt, I did try to fart on multiple of them at the same time, but I could never get it to work, so I just fought them one at a time, which is why I decided to fight this one on the cliff at first. Regardless, each one of them takes 3 farts to kill, and since it takes so long to get a fart out, it makes it pretty difficult to let one rip without taking a hit, so I burned through a lot of my life gems, and even had to resort to using a Radiant Life Gem in the process. Hardest fight so far, my ass was quite sore from all the blasting I had to do, but luckily I finally got enough souls to level up my attunement enough, so now we have 3 whole farts ready to go. we are so back. And now that we have access to the Lost Bastille area, we can unpetrify this man, so we can almost upgrade our fart from a simple cravings box to a Lux cravings box. But sadly, to do that, we need to kill the rat Vanguard first, who are ironically very fart resistant. He also sells rogue water, which works just like the Amber Herds, but better. So to prepare for the rat Vanguard, I got some alluring skulls to help, and if you don't know, these will make enemies attracted to wherever you throw them, and I did not use these very well. I didn't realize that they only work for like 3 seconds, and I was just tossing them all over the place all willy-nilly. But luckily, now that I have 3 farts at my disposal, my Amber Herds will replenish 2 of them now instead of just 1, so that's nice. Anyway, it only takes 2 farts to kill the small rats, and after killing a handful of them, it takes a total of 4 to kill the main boss, since it takes 2 of them to actually affect him due to his high fart resistance, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Now that that's done, we can trade his immortal soul for a toxic fart, which is extra stinky, and now we can try to take out that lady again now that we have a total of 7 farts to use. And at first I thought it would be impossible because she is a dirty, rotten cleric that likes to heal herself a lot, and I am unable to outpace her healing with my farts even if I use both at the same time, which I did learn are 2 separate meters, so you could actually double up on the farts and kill them even quicker if you use both types. I tried to get her to fall off the ledge for a while, but that didn't work, so I ended up just hitting her with some farts and then running away to a different room, and for some reason that causes her to not heal herself, and I was surprisingly able to kill her this way. So now that she's dead, I can buy her hood, and while you wear it, it gives you an extra use for both fart types, so we are so fucking back, baby. With that, we're ready to face the Lost Sinner. And she is also fart resistant, so it takes 2 hits to affect her, and she moves around a lot, so if you don't get her to stay in your fart cloud long enough, you might have to hit her a 3rd time. And I was taking quite the ass beating during this fight, but I have like 3 ADP, so my iframes are pretty darn low. And I was struggling to dodge almost any of her attacks, especially since it takes a couple business days to get a fart out. Luckily, each time she is affected, it takes a huge chunk of her health, but then I have to survive while I wait for her to slowly suffocate from my gas, which I barely did. But we made it through and light the first primal bonfire, and we're on to the next one. In between that, I randomly decided to kill the gargoyles just for funsies and the souls, and it was pretty easy. And then I went to the skeleton lords and had a horrifying realization that they are completely immune to farts, as are like most of the main bosses in the first half of the game. All is not lost though, as there is one way that we can skip to Drangleic Castle by simply getting a total of 1 million soul memory, so we have our work cut out for us. My first thought was farming the rotten boss, who is very fart resistant and has an absolute ton of health, so not really an option since I don't have enough farts to kill him without using items, and he's only going to get more health with every single bonfire aesthetic I use. So I tried to find an enemy I could farm to get more fart replenishing items, and the only one that's available to me at this point in the game are those mummy guys in Lost Bastille. But it should be much easier to fight them going the back way, so I don't have to worry about other enemies attacking me, so I beat the pursuer real quick, which was pretty easy. It only takes 2 farts each time and 3 times total, and we leave his smelly corpse behind and hop into this nest. Also with his souls, I was able to upgrade my attunement some more to get an extra use of each fart once again. We are so back. And then I farmed these mummy guys for like 20 minutes and did not get a single twilight herb. So I just said screw it and fought the rotten anyway. I had to use a couple twilight herbs to get through it, and it usually took about 2 or 3 farts to affect him, which does suck quite a bit, although he's not actually that hard to beat. And then I used a bonfire aesthetic to make him come back, and he would basically one-shot me every single time. And I really did not want to get into a situation where I got part of the way through the fight to the point where I had to use some twilight herbs and then end up dying and just wasting a finite resource, so this really isn't the best option right now. So instead, I made the very foolish choice to simply farm the mummy guys until I had enough soul memory to reach 1 million. With the Serpent Ring +1, they give me a little over 600 souls for each kill, and if I needed exactly 1 million, I'd have to kill them over 1,500 times. But luckily, I already have around 400,000 soul memory through playing the game, so I only need about 1,000 kills. Lucky me. And I decided to farm them specifically, hoping that they would drop some twilight herbs in the process, which is apparently very, 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 very rare because I got like 5. So yes, I did do it. Not all at once though. Every day for about a week, I would play until I got about 100,000 souls, which would usually take me a little over an hour. So I spent about 7 hours in total just killing these guys over and over and over. I did also start killing some of these knights as well, since you can kill a bunch of them at the same time if you get them crammed into this doorway. And it would have probably taken me a lot less time if I wasn't also trying to farm the Twilight Herbs, because I would have to wait for their death animation to see if they dropped one. Because if not, you could literally just hit them with a fart and then run away to the next one because it'll kill them on its own, which I did do sometimes if I was getting impatient. And through the process, I also managed to max out my attunement with all the souls I have now, and now I have a total of 13 farts to stinkify my enemies with. Was this the smartest strategy? Probably not. And I'm sure many of you know many ways I could have done this better and faster, but what I really wanted was the Twilight Herbs. But the drop rate is insanely low, even though I was wearing gear to increase it. So it really wasn't worth killing these guys, and there's definitely some better options out there, but oh well, what's done is done, and the 7 hours I wasted I will never get back, so I hope you're happy. The Emerald Herald, for one, was not happy, and scorns me for taking the quote-unquote easy path, and I wanted to fart on her right there and then, but I held my ass. Luckily, these guys are not immune to farts, so I was able to open the door to the castle, and this guy also sells 10 wilted herbs, so that's nice. After that, I have to kill some people near this door to open it to the next area, and I was once again horrified to realize that they are immune to poison. Fuck me, I guess. But it's alright. There's these two guys chilling down here, and you can lead one of them up to this room and kill him instead. On to the Twin Dragon Riders now, which was very easy if you make the first one, knock the other one down, and then hit them both with a stinky fart at the same time. The blue one will die to one fart, but the red one does need a second gas attack to do the job. Moving on from there, we get to this room where we need to kill another enemy to move on, and these statues do not seem to come alive. But there are these two guys who are very resistant to farts. They're not immune, but it is ridiculously hard to affect them, and I've tried a ton of times to get one of them to die, and it was just not happening. Until I pulled out a double-digit IQ move, and I locked one of them in this room and ran all the way back around the castle without sitting at the bonfire, got up to this ledge where he can't reach me, and my heart sank because he was like really far away and did not seem like he was going to come near me anytime soon. But after a few minutes, he finally moseyed on over to me, and I had to hit him with almost every single fart I had to finally get him to start dying. But once he was, I led him over to the statue, and it did in fact work. And then I also discovered something that is absolutely great for this run, because there are other enemies that will drop items to increase my fart uses, but almost all of them except for the mummies are locked past bosses that I can't beat due to them being immune to poison, including these desert sorcerers, or so I thought, because most of them are in Harvest Valley, which I cannot get to, but there are two of them in this castle, and they are both very close to the bonfire. And although they can one-shot me, I can sneak up to them and fart on them before they notice me, and I only had to kill them a total of 3 times before they dropped an item I needed. So that already seems like a much higher drop rate than those stupid ass mummies that I killed hundreds of times only for them to drop like 5. And then I killed them one more time and they dropped another one, and I wasn't even wearing any item discovery gear, so needless to say, I am not going to be stingy when it comes to using my fart replenishing items for now on. Also, when I was farming them, I thought I might want to enter the Champion's Covenant soon so they don't despawn, and that's when I saw it. I am still in the Champion's Covenant from when I was farming the mummy guys, and somehow the Twin Dragon Riders were still insanely easy to fight, but I'm glad I noticed before the Mirror Knight because he probably would not be easy. Well, he kind of was actually. It only took me 2 or 3 tries. He walks pretty slow, so it's not too hard to fart on him, and it only takes 2 to affect him, and I was even able to affect him with both my fart types to kill him extra fast. It's especially convenient to do that when he's summoning his little goon to help him out because he just sits in one spot for a good while, and by the time those run out, he's almost dead, so it only takes 1 more. Now that that's taken care of, we could go through the Shrine of Amana, my favorite. I really didn't know how I was going to do this since my farts are pretty short range and it's almost impossible to just sprint through this entire area because you're getting chased by little water demons and shot at with magic and chased down by melee users all at the same damn time. So I pretty much just had to take it really slow and had to resign myself to the fact that I'm gonna have to use a lot of fart replenishing items to get through this. Luckily, pretty much all of the enemies die in 1 or 2 farts, and I would try my best to take them out one at a time by baiting them into chasing me and then getting some distance from everybody else. And for the last little section, I did just run through it, although I barely made it because this guy was shoving magic spikes into my spinal cord as I was trying to walk through the fog wall. Speaking of the boss, he was very easy. Foreskin and farts are basically neighbors, so we had a mutual respect for each other, and it only takes 2 farts to affect him. He's really big and slow and very easy to hit, so not much to it. I didn't even have to use any items. Nothing much happens on the way to Velstadt. I was worried about these big shield guys at first. I wasn't sure if they would move from fart, but if you get really close to them and use it, they'll get a whiff and finally react. Velstadt was actually pretty easy. This is probably one of the easier ways to beat him actually, since he gets a very high defense boost in the second phase, but I don't think that has any effect on fart, so it was pretty easy to take him out. Like many bosses, it only takes 2 farts to affect him, and it's actually pretty easy to affect him with both fart types when he's transferring into his second phase, because he kind of just takes a knee for a while. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And now we can take on the Throne Watcher and Defender, and this actually was pretty tough. They do die pretty quickly, but due to me farting very slowly, it's pretty difficult to take on 2 enemies at once. And for the first time in this run, I ended up using this super secret method of not locking on until I needed to fart. And this way it makes it easier to stay out of their range, and it only takes 2 or 3 farts to affect them, and you only need to affect them both 2 times each. I killed the smaller one first and tried to take out the big one before he healed her, which I did just barely. And then I stood there confused for a second, wondering why Nashandra wasn't showing up. And apparently we need the item from the Giant Lord to make her appear, which means we need to go through Uldia's Keep, kill the dragon, run through Dragon Airy, talk to the big dragon, and then kill the Giant Lord. So let's do that. I run through Uldia's Keep, kill this guy real quick, and expertly dodge this giant troll, and then expertly not dodge the second giant troll. And then we can face the dragon, who is very easy. It only takes 1 fart to affect him and only a few times to actually kill him. I'm not sure how many times in total because I was using both types, but it is pretty easy to affect him because he's pretty big and pretty slow. Obviously you can only hit him while he's on the ground, but he does stay there for a while so he can soak up all that fart you're unleashing on him. Now that he's taken care of, we can talk to the dragon to get the thing and go face the Giant Lord, who was the bane of my existence in my ring only run, which if you haven't seen that one, you should definitely watch it because it was one of my favorite videos. This time around it was much easier though, because you can kind of just stand between his legs and fart directly onto his feet, which I'm sure is somebody's fetish. Mine. And it only takes 1 fart to affect him, and it's easy to get both at the same time. He does have a decent amount of health, but most of his attacks are pretty easy to avoid, even if I wasn't a lot of the time. And you have plenty of time to kill him before the time limit runs out. And now we could actually fight Nashandra. And I would say that she is actually a worthy final boss for this run because she has a ton of health and you need at least 3, yes, 3 whole farts to actually affect her. And she does not make it easy since the range on the farts are not very far and getting close to her can be pretty difficult due to her spooky dark curse orbs. And it's even harder since I can't get the curse resistance ring since it's locked behind bosses that I can't beat with fart. But eventually I do get the job done and take my rightful place on my stinky throne. So yes, surprisingly, you can beat Dark Souls 2 only using farts. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. If you want to get your own Alexander Warrior jar, just check the link in the description, or you can leave a comment and I might pick yours to win one randomly that I'll reveal in the next video. Thank you guys again and have a great rest of your day. Peace.